Hoosiers helping Hoosiers across central Indiana. These are our friends and neighbors on 95.5 WFMS.
Welcome back to another edition of our Friends and Neighbors show on WFMS. I'm excited about this event that we're going to talk about. Something that's important to me, and I think it's going to be important to you when you hear why we are doing this. First of all, let me introduce Gary Purvis. Gary is with G&G Oil. We also have Duke Ham with MRS Heating and Cooling and Matt Ham with MRS Heating and Cooling. And gentlemen, in unison, if you want to say hi to our listeners, that would be great.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Everyone.
Now, just for the sake of folks being able to identify those voices, maybe you each can give your name so maybe people can kind of remember when you answer some of those questions. So we'll start with Gary, then Duke, and then Matt. Just say hi.
Hi, this is Gary.
Hi, this is Duke.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt.
All right, perfect. That's wonderful. I'm Kevin Freeman, and once again, thanks again for being a part of our Friends and Neighbors program on WFMS. We're here to talk about dancing. Now, I know Gary, and I don't know if Gary's a dancer or not. Are you a dancer, Gary, by chance?
I am not.
Okay. Duke and Matt, are you guys dancers?
No, I'm a Quaker, so I can only slow dance.
There you go. There you go. Well, then you might say, well, why are these guys on the radio? And I'm not a dancer. Why are these guys on the radio talking about dancing? Well, it's Dancing for Diamonds. It's part of the Newcastle Little League fundraiser. And Gary, I'd like to start off with you maybe sharing why you and G&G Oil, or you specifically, are involved in this event.
It's run through our foundation. Our family has the Purvis Youth Foundation, and we started this about 5 years ago in honor of my brother who passed away. And he was big into Little League and youth sports and loved children. And so we kind of thought we'd just start this in his honor and give back to the community. We've been doing a golf outing for about for 7 years and six years now, I guess it is. And we've rebuilt the Newcastle Little League baseball diamonds, or softball diamonds, and Little League baseball diamonds have all been rebuilt. And last year I got this idea to do a Dancing for Diamonds, so we take off of Dancing with the Stars, but we use local business leaders, and we have a big dance and set up GoFundMe pages. And last year we raised a lot of money, so we hope that we can raise even more this year by getting WFMS involved and MRS involved. So
absolutely. So the concept is you have some local celebrities sign up to dance just like on the television show, and people can come out and watch them. I don't want to say make a fool of themselves, but watch them dance, and it's all to raise money for a good cause.
Yes, it is. We hire a professional dancer to teach these couples to dance, so they all get their own time with a professional dance instructor, and he will teach them, a 2.5 to 3 minute dance. And
now,
then everybody, it's a great evening.
Well, Gary, was it hard to convince some of these local businesses to be involved, to actually dance? Was it hard to convince some of these people to do this?
The first, I think I have 6 couples, and the first 5 were pretty easy. The 6th one was difficult. Everybody's worried about making a fool out of themselves, but we'll end up with 8 or 10 couples to dance. And then we're also planning on, we have a couple younger ladies, 8, 9, 10-year-olds that can have pretty good singing. So we're going to have some other things along with dancing that night also.
I guess I should mention the event is on Saturday, October 21st at 6 p.m. Tickets may be sold out, but our listeners have an opportunity to support the GoFundMe pages, and we'll get to that. We'll add some links so people can be a part of that. Duke and Matt, Gary mentioned that MRS Heating and Cooling is involved. Why is it important for your company to be involved in some local events there in Newcastle?
Yeah, hi, this is Duke. And MRS, we're very community oriented. I've known the Purvises. Oh my gosh, Gary, I'd assume we go back 50 plus years.
Wait, neither one of you that old? You're not that old.
And Little League Baseball, I played in it, 56 years ago, started out. My dad coached in it. The Purvis Foundation and the Purvises have just been doing great things with Little League Baseball for many years. Rick, Gary's brother, I remember him umpiring a lot and coaching in it, and his kids playing. And I went to school with Paula Purvis, Rick's wife. So it's very close to the heart, and they do great things for our youth in the community.
Matt, did you by chance
Absolutely.
play? Did you play Little League baseball, Matt, by chance?
I did, yeah. I played Little League baseball, Little League All Stars, and loved it. Loved what that does for youth in our community, and what it did for myself growing up in it. And I just love what Gary does with the Purvis Foundation, supporting the local sports, but also on top of that, getting involved with the arts too for the youth.
Yes.
Being able to kind of meld both dance and sports together, and how both of those can make a huge impact for the youth in our community. It's just such a great event, and at MRS we love to support that.
You know, I was a Little League. I played Little League baseball as well, and it means it's something important to me. My grandkids all play Little League baseball, and to think if a child doesn't have that opportunity to play is pretty sad. So the money being raised goes towards, help me out here, Gary, goes towards the Little League program there in Newcastle, or to the field itself.
This money will be going primarily to Little League softball
Mhm.
for the girls softball.
Good.
Softball started in Newcastle 2 years ago as a Little League, and when they started, they had basically nothing. And we've done well. The Josh Estel has done an awesome job to create the Diamonds, an atmosphere of sports. It's just been a great year. So we just need to keep adding to what we're doing out there. So
If someone listening right now would like to be a part of this, I will have a link to some of the GoFundMe pages. We'll create one as well, so we can help raise some money for that. But Gary, do you know off the top of your head some of the local celebrities that are dancing? Can we give them a little publicity here, a little free press?
I do know, Jan Estel will be dancing with her daughter, who is a Little League softballer.
Oh, wonderful!
Jonathan Phillips, who's running for city council, will be involved.
Always good to see a politician dance. I like that.
Yeah, our mayor of Newcastle is going to dance. Mayor York is dancing. Roger Butler and his wife, and Roger's a new car salesman, and his wife is a beautician. They're dancing. We have a couple of coaches of Little League softball that are dancing. So yeah, we've got a pretty good group. My son and his wife are dancing.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
As Newcastle support Little League normally? Are they have a lot of kids playing in this in the Little League, or have you found over the years that with a lot of other things, kids get involved with computers and and other stuff, and they're not outside as much as we were when we were kids? Is that the case in Newcastle too?
I can tell you that the last 2 years or 3 years, Newcastle Little League has grown
Wonderful.
every year. Yeah, it's just getting bigger and bigger. We're actually talking right now about building another diamond because we have so many.
They've got involved in its official Little League here with even 5-6-year-old T-ballers and coaches pitch. And those are real popular. And there's a lot more kids playing that than the 11 and 12-year-olds these days. So going very strong in Newcastle.
And if you're looking for some fun entertainment, go watch those little fellas and girls play a T-ball or coach pitch. That's always fun to watch. Duke and Matt, tell us why it's important for a business to be involved in the community. Obviously, you have a heating and cooling business. We're approaching what would be probably one of your busiest times, but yet you find time to carve out some time for the community. Why is it important for a business to be a part of community events?
I truly believe that when you're in business, you've got to give back. And it's also aligned with giver's gain. If you give, you're in the long run going to gain also. But being born and raised in Newcastle, it's just very important for MRS to give back to the community.
And that goes all the way through MRS too. We have many of our technicians, a lot of our staff that's involved in a bunch of different organizations, including the Purvis Foundation. And we absolutely do see a difference in how our business is able to connect with our community. And that's good for us too. But we live and we have our families here, and being able to make this place a better place for youth in our community is just absolutely cherry on top for us.
Gary, if you can, tell us a little bit more about the Purvis Foundation. What are some other, do you have other fundraisers that you're doing? What are other projects going on later in the year maybe, or even next year?
We do every year, the second week in June, the second Saturday in June, we have a golf outing. And we normally, have in the range of 140, 144 people playing in it.
Wow.
Last year we raised almost $19,000, and we have a lot of corporate sponsors. Newcastle Stainless here in town is a very, very good sponsor of ours for our golf outing. They really take care of us. And you said at the top of the show, I work for G&G Oil.
Mm-hmm.
I represent 5 oil companies, and they donate very heavily to my foundation for what we do. So we're going to do June. I think it's June the 9th this year coming up. We'll be doing it again, and again we're shooting for $20,000 this year. So trying to build another baseball diamond here in Newcastle, but we do other things. We've donated. We just donated to the Newcastle band. They're needing some new equipment, things like that. So we donate to them, and we'll just whatever it takes to help the community. We do it. So if we can, we'll make it work. So
Gary, what do you think your brother would think right now?
well, the last time you and I talked about this, I get all choked up. You know that. So
Yeah. But he would be proud.
he would.
Mm-hmm. Well, I admire you, Gary. I admire Duke and Matt for you guys being involved in this. It's easy to sit down and say, "Hey, let's do something for the community." But I can tell by your voice and knowing you personally, Gary, this is a personal thing. And Duke and Matt, this is personal to you too. The community of Newcastle is important to you, and that's why you're involved. How much money are we hoping to raise for Dancing for Diamonds, both at the actual event, which again is October 21st at 6 p.m., but through the GoFundMe pages? Do we have a targeted amount we'd like to raise?
My targeted amount is we did 25,000 last year.
Wow.
I think I'm hoping that our partnership with Duke and Matt and MRS, and then with WFMS,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking 40,000 this year.
Wow. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh,
That would be great. Absolutely.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. And to think of the legacy that, I don't know how old Matt you are, but if you've got kids and grandkids, this is something for your future kids, or Duke or Gary, our kids. We're planning for the future. We may not always see the harvest right away, but it'll be there years down the road by this hard work.
Absolutely. I don't have any kids myself. I'm 34, but I have a brother who has 3 kids, just had a daughter.
Mhm.
And just seeing them grow up in this community and see what youth sports and arts and everything around this community can do for us. And the Purvis Foundation is absolutely the best at it.
Mhm.
And we love to support them and what they do for our community.
Yeah, and I just want to thank Gary for thinking of us and MRS to be a sponsor for this. It's just great to be partnered with such a great family and foundation in memory of Rick.
Well, we're very, very pleased to have MRS, and that was my first thought, and actually my only thought was to talk to them, because MRS is what Duke and Matt, they do a quality job with everything they do. So
Yeah, I didn't really go into detail about MRS Heating and Cooling. You've been, I'm assuming, in the Newcastle area for more than a couple of years?
Yes, a man named Daryl Gross started MRS 30 years ago.
Oh, my.
And myself and a business partner bought MRS about a little over 3 years ago.
Daryl, when he sold to Duke and James, he absolutely wanted it to go to somebody local,
Mhm.
like what Duke and James are doing, because of stuff like this, where he wanted this company to be able to support the community.
Yeah.
And so we're just happy to continue that.
Well, obviously, Gary, you and your foundation can't do it alone. Can't hit those goals that you have to raise and make a difference in Newcastle. Can't do it alone. And you've got some corporate sponsors that are helping you take those steps, but it takes all of us with our nickels, dimes, dollars, hundreds, dollars, whatever it might be, to be a part of it as well. And that's why we're going to make sure they have an opportunity to be a part of that GoFundMe page and just watch those dollar amounts go up as people make a pledge to support one of the dancing teams or all the teams or whatever. Everyone's a winner when it's all said and done. Those local celebrities and business owners that were willing enough to put their left and right foot forward with some embarrassment possibly, hats off to them. And then certainly the bottom line is making sure we have a fun, safe place for kids now and in the future to play baseball and girls softball in Newcastle.
absolutely, and that's the thing. Last year, I was amazed at the number of donations that we did receive from people for $20-$30 at a time. They add up to that $25,000. I was shocked.
Yep.
There were just so many people donated, and that was a great thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to put out an invitation, and gentlemen, I hope you will say yes. I'd love to have you back on again as we get closer to the October 21st date to just kind of get a follow-up with how we're doing with donations and any issues there might be. If you need some volunteers, we'll reach out and we'll try to help you out there or whatever it might be. But if you three are willing to be a part of another interview, I'd sure love to have you on.
Yes, it'd be my pleasure. Thank you, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, would love that, and definitely want to thank you too, Kevin, for everything you and WFMS does and help and support foundations like Purvis Foundation.
Well, we started this program called Friends and Neighbors a number of years ago, and it mirrors what Gary was talking about and what Duke mentioned too, why we are involved in the community is to make a difference. Yeah, we all need to make a paycheck, and yeah, we all need to support our families, but also we need to make a difference in the community, and that's why we have this Friends and Neighbors program, and that's why obviously we have Gary with his foundation and you gentlemen being involved in it too. Guys, our time is sadly gone, but I do appreciate the time, and we will have you back, okay?
Hey, thanks a lot.
well, thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
Hoosiers, helping Hoosiers across Central Indiana. Find more information about how we can support your charitable organization or promote an upcoming event at WFMS.com.
These are our friends and neighbors on 95.5 WFMS.
All right, next up, we had a chance to visit with the folks from the annual Car Free Day in Indy. It was held in downtown last weekend. We had a chance to visit with the folks, but it was a one-day event, but it actually is a year-long goal by the folks at Commuter Connect, inviting folks to go car-free or car-light to make things easier as you commute. Here's our interview with the folks from Commuter Connect and Car Free Indy Day. And Megan, we're down here at Car Free Day Indy in Indianapolis right now. This is an international event going on, though, right?
Yes, international event. So we've got cities like Indianapolis and cities all over the U.S., but Paris, Washington, D.C., throwing on these events to try and get people to take another mode of transportation. You're walking, you're biking to work, you're trying a van pool, a bus. Once you get exposed to that a little bit, you get excited about it. You don't want to sit in traffic. You want cleaner air, cleaner ways. So a little bit of exposure to what cities can offer.
You just mentioned before we started recording the fact that Taylor Swift. Explain that story. That people know about it. They're willing to do it when they think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been crazy to see Taylor Swift's Eras tours bringing in tons and tons of people. These cities will have free public transportation. Ride the metro, ride the bus. And they're packed. And that's always been the thing, right? They say, the demand isn't there. People don't know how to use it. But you've got these young girls, you've got their families absolutely filling these vehicles and figuring out that, hey, this is really easy. I can get to where I want to go, how I want to go. It's cheap, it's affordable, it's fun to have, we're going down to this concert, everyone's dressed up, you're meeting people. And so people are exposed to that. And you got to take advantage of it and allow, the demand is there. People are learning how to use it. And Taylor Swift is changing public policy, I guess.
Absolutely, clearly. So someone listening right now is thinking, okay, I've heard about this, I've read about it, I think I need to maybe start doing this. What's the first thing they can do?
Yeah, well, take a look, and this, depending on where you live, the city you are. So here today we're in Indianapolis. You got most municipalities have great organizations like CERTA. We're here today with Commuter Connect, a service of CERTA. And you've got these organizations that'll connect you to, hey, how do you want to get around? What bus options are available? Maybe you don't have buses, maybe you don't have a subway or a metro, but hey, you got van pools, you got carpools. So look for those public transportation, entities and those websites. There's great resources, even on Google Maps. You go on Google Maps, say, hey, I'm home. I want to go to, I'm going to a Colts game. How do I get there? I want to go to the mall. How do I get there? Google Maps has these great bus routes in it. Take a look, start asking around, and you know what? You give these people a call, you send in an email, and there's just offices full of people that want to help you learn to make this easy for you. So start with Google Maps. Start with looking around in your area. If you're here in Indiana, in central Indiana, check out CERTA's Commuter Connect. Yeah. They'll be sure to help you out.
I think it's funny because when we travel, we're in Nashville a lot, and we park our car and we take public transportation or an Uber or something like that. We don't even drive the car in that area. So we're more often willing to try something new when we're out of town. We should be willing to try that in your own hometown. What are the benefits of doing that? What would be the long term? I would assume cleaner air and everything else. But what are some of the benefits?
Yeah, well,
money.
You're saving money. You're saving stress. I mean, my God, trying to sit in traffic. How many times have you been like you and your co-pilot in the car? Google Maps is yelling at you. They're yelling at you. A street is one way. You're in a new area. You don't know where you're going. Take that stress out of your life on your vacation.
Yeah.
Take that stress out of your life on your commute. Save money in the long run. Oh my God, transportation costs. You drive down in the city, you get your car, you get a little bumper bruise. That's gonna cost you money.
And then you pay $30, $40 or $50 or more a month just to park it down here.
Oh my gosh, parking costs are so expensive. So the benefits to you, less stress, cheaper alternative, and then of course like cleaner air. We're all experiencing the effects of a changing world and a busy world, and hey, you gotta go where you gotta go, but there's cleaner ways to do it and try and improve overall the quality of life and the culture of the place that you live in, right? Like learn about your city, see it in a new way, whether you live here or you're visiting.
Have you found that most major cities, and I would tag Indianapolis as a major city, maybe it's a major minor city, they're open to the public transportation, that the idea of sharing, ride sharing? I mean, I would think that's true.
Yeah, I think so.
They want you to do that.
Yeah, I think people want it, and I think cities want it, and I think people are curious about it. And it's once you get exposed to it, once you try it out, and it's always that initial hump of like, well, how do I get connected? Who's gonna be in that van pool with me? You don't know, right? It's a little uncomfortable, but we find at least the people who do it, like you do it once and you stick with it. So if you can get over that hump, if you can try it out with a friend, see if in your area they're offering any deals or discounts. I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I know today CERTA is offering $250 Visa gift cards. They're giving away concert tickets to just try and incentivize people to give it a try. And once you do it once, people don't tend to go back. They make friends on the way. They like it. They get used to it, and you just try a new way of life.
I love to save money, but I think the stress thing might top that for me. You're exactly right. It could reduce a lot of stress. You could multitask as you're driving into work. Someone else doing the driving, you can do the last minute work you may have to do. Someone listening to this on our podcast right now, obviously it's after the event. How do they get more information?
Yeah, head on over to CERTA.us. Or even better, go to carfreedayindy.com. That's going to drive you right to our website where you can learn more about going car free or car light, like we say,
I love that.
Car light, take
Yeah.
a carpool once in a while, maybe
Yeah.
take a bike once in a while, keep your car, that's fine. And that's going to give you a wealth of resources for Central Indiana and also connect you with other community partners and organizations around the state. So head to carfreedayindy.com, learn more, and get connected with us.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now we're talking with Amanda. Amanda, thanks for having us out here today.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
We were just talking about all the great reasons why you should be a part of ride sharing. What's the light version you talk about?
Yeah, you can go car free or car
I
light.
love that. And too, but we mentioned the benefits. You think, okay, I'm going to save some money, but we also found out, Amanda, that you can also reduce a lot of stress allowing somebody else to do that, right?
You can. Sharing the ride, there's so much that comes with commuting, having to wait, not knowing what traffic's going to be like. So sharing the ride, you got someone to ride with, got a companion, and you could even take a nap if you want, Kevin.
I love that.
A lot of things you could do.
So someone listening right now who's thinking, okay, I've read about this, I want to be a part of this, but I don't know how to make the first step. Mm-hmm. Where do we go to learn more about it? This is sadly it's after the event. They're listening on our podcast, but where could they go?
Yes, if they go to our website, www.CERTA.us, you can go to register, click a button that says register. It'll ask for your home address and work address. We don't share your home address with anyone, but just get registered and you'll be able to get your free carpool match list.
Okay, and then they will help you. What is that, Matt? What is that? I'm assuming they're helping you find people in your area?
Yes, so we find someone that works a similar schedule as you, that lives and works.
You do
in
the
your
work
area.
for us?
Yes, we do. And so you guys can get connected. You can ride together to work. You would reach out to that person and just say, hey, I'm interested in carpooling. Let's see if we can make this work.
Yeah.
So we like to joke, Kevin, and say it's like a dating site for carpoolers because
that.
you reach out and find out if they're a good fit for you.
Yeah. Well, and then again, we talked about the money that you will save, and just I don't know what it costs to park a car here on during weekly commute downtown, it's not cheap, probably 40, 50, 60, maybe $100 a month to park your car. You could come down here a lot cheaper than that if you ride share.
That's true. We also have Van Pool, that's sharing between 4 to 15 people.
That's Party Bus.
Yes, Party Bus. And we've got the Indigo bus here today, but there are all kinds of places that Indigo bus can take you, and we'd love to get people their own carpool match or on the Van Pool too.
So much is just education. I think somebody listening on our podcast right now may be saying, well, I'm of an older age, a senior citizen. That's not for me, it's for the younger people. But that's not true. But I also do believe that is a generational thing. I think the younger generation, your age group, understands the importance of this for just the future of clean air and reducing stress and everything else.
That's so true. And it is much more than the clean air, too. I mean, the savings that I don't know about you, but the inflation right now, to be able to save a bit of money is important.
Absolutely.
But our environment's important for the next generation, so we want to take care of it and reduce those emissions as well.
I've had a chance to tour in Italy, be in Italy. And public transportation is very popular over there. You don't get in your car by yourself and just drive somewhere. You either walk or you find public transportation. I'm hoping that other cities, and our city included, will start developing that. Now, I know we've been created some direct bus lines to help people get downtown more often. So Indianapolis is doing its part. We just need to do the part and ride on those vehicles.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm. Amanda, thanks for having us out.
Yeah, we love having you here. Thank you, Kevin.
Hoosiers, helping Hoosiers across Central Indiana. Find more information about how we can support your charitable organization or promote an upcoming event at WFMS.com.
These are our friends and neighbors on 95.5 WFMS.
All right, we talked to Jim Denny last week. He actually did an interview with the folks at Taffy's Touch to talk about his big golf outing. Well, we had it last Tuesday. It was a major success. Jim has agreed to jump in here real quickly and give us kind of a recap of how things went. And we had a couple of people ask, why did Jim choose Taffy's Touch as the charity for his golf outing? So, Jim, we'll start with maybe you saying thank you to everybody that was a part of the golf outing.
Well, without a doubt, yeah. It couldn't have been done without the help of all the people that showed up to play golf, and they donated at the holes, and they also bid on some of the auction items to help Taffy's Touch Senior Dog Rescue. But we made some money. And that is good, too, for Taffy's Touch. And you asked earlier how I got involved with that, too. And this has probably happened to some other people. But when my dad passed away a number of years ago, my mom had Sissy, which was a little Chihuahua dog, who I guess she was probably, I'm going to say 8 years old, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. But Mom couldn't take care of her anymore just because I happened to walk the dog and just do the simple things you have to do with the dog. So I couldn't figure out what to do, and it was to the point where it was getting frustrating because we didn't want to necessarily take it to the Humane Society, but we didn't want, because it might get put down if that's the case, or a shelter somewhere. But we got on the air and talked about it, and somebody said, hey, try calling Taffy's Touch Senior Dog Rescue. Well, I did, and Nikki, who is the founder of that, who we heard from earlier, said, okay, send me a picture. So I sent a picture of Sissy, the Chihuahua, and she said, okay, I think I have a foster. So I met her down in Franklin, and so she went to this foster, and then within the week, the foster said, we want to adopt her.
Oh, isn't that great?
She's living her best life.
Jim, hats off to you for saying, hey, I want to do this golf outing. And honestly, folks, the sole reason he did this golf outing was to raise money for his dogs, as he called it, his old dogs.
My old dogs.
Yeah, so you had fun playing golf, but more importantly, you made a difference in a lot of these dogs' lives. So thanks for doing that.
Couldn't have been done without the listeners.
Get in touch and tell us about your charitable organization or upcoming event at WFMS.com.
This has been a Friends and Neighbors Community Show. Thanks for listening.